Poised for Exit is a show for business owners who want to achieve a successful exit based on their own terms. Your business exit will likely be the biggest financial transaction of your life, and for most, you'll have one shot at doing it right. The topics and guests we feature and the stories they share will provide valuable ideas and strategies to improve operations and grow enterprise value so you can achieve the best possible exit outcome. Now here's your host, award-winning certified exit planning advisor, Julie Keys.
Welcome everybody to Poised for Exit. Our guests today, two guests actually, are here to discuss how important it is for owners to plan what to do with the proceeds of their liquidity event well before the sale. So we're going to hear from them and their sage advice right after these messages.
Exiting your business is a big deal, both financially and emotionally. I'm Jon Marquet, Certified Exit Planning Advisor with TrustPoint. We help business owners transition smoothly on their terms. Our focus is on maximizing value, minimizing stress, and giving you confidence in what's next. Whether you're selling or passing the torch, we make the process seamless. Start planning today at trustpointinc.com. That's trustpointinc.com.
My name is Todd Crow, and I'm the president of the Twin Cities Exit Planning Chapter. If you're a business owner and advisor and want to learn more about the world of exit planning, you're invited to visit the Twin Cities chapter of the Exit Planning Institute. You can expect top-level education delivered by subject matter experts at every monthly meeting. Grow your network and draw from the learning that could be a game changer for your business or your practice. There's no pressure to become a member, so come and see what the buzz is all about. Our meetings are held the second Wednesday of the month, 7:30 to 9 a.m. See the show notes for more information and registration links.
This is Andy Kosamba, president of Calhoun Companies. We understand that selling your business is a big deal. Since 1908, Calhoun Companies has been confidently connecting buyers and sellers. From small family shops to large corporations, our expert brokers walk with you and guide you every step of the way, whether you're looking to retire or simply for a fresh start. If you're curious what your business could sell for, or if you're ready to start the process, head to calhouncompanies.com for a free and confidential consultation. Calhoun Companies, the confident choice for buyers and sellers.
Thinking about selling your business in the next few years? Don't wait to start planning. I've seen too many business owners wait too long and regret it. Freedom Financial Partners are financial advisors who specialize in exit planning for business owners, helping you reduce tax surprises, protect what you've built, and quantify how much you need from the sale. Their proven process helps you think beyond your business so you can move forward with clarity and confidence. The longer you wait, the fewer options you may have. Download your free financial readiness assessment today at ffpforme.com/exit. That's ffpforme.com/exit. Hello, Poised for Exit listeners. We are here today with Jon Marquet and Brenna Johnson, both of whom are advisors with TrustPoint, one of our most valuable show sponsors. And Jon, is this like your third visit to the show?
It's been several, and they've all been fantastic, so I keep coming back.
I know. I love having you on the show. Yeah, you have so much to share. It's really great. And you're a natural at this too, so thanks for joining us again.
I'll take the compliment.
Yeah.
Thank you, Julie.
Yeah, appreciate that. And Brenna, very nice to see you. Very nice to meet you. And your first visit here.
Yes, it is my first visit, and I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, me too. Me too. I think it's a great idea for the two of you to tag team this because you come at it from kind of similar angles, but different, right? Because your backgrounds are different. So in light of that, I would like to just have you maybe share a little bit about yourselves and, your role at TrustPoint, and then we'll get into the questions.
Yeah, I'll kick it off, Julie. Again, really great to be here. Thank you for having me again. It's always really a pleasure to chat with you and your listeners. As some listeners may recall, I'm a lawyer. I'm a certified exit planning advisor, CEPA, and the retirement plan consultant at TrustPoint. And at TrustPoint, we work with a lot of people, including a lot of business owners, really on everything financial, including as a corporate trustee, a wealth manager, a 401k provider. And we work with a ton of business owners on exit planning, including on the part of exit planning that we sort of want to focus in on today, and is really Brenna's expertise, is the intersection of personal financial planning and business exits, and really the need to engage in that personal financial planning in connection with the analysis that goes into an exit plan and a potential transaction.
Yes, John, I would agree with that. It's great to be here. I'm a certified financial planner and a dedicated financial planner at TrustPoint, which basically means I help our clients organize their financial picture into customizable plans and create solutions to aid in their retirement and business goals. I love educating and providing financial peace of mind for our clients. And then that it does include business owners, because that's a big piece of, as they're exit planning, making sure all of those pieces are fitting together and creating a focus on what they want in their retirement.
Yeah, and I think that it really does require the outside perspective and expertise that you bring to the table, because as we know, exit is such an emotional situation for business owners. No matter how well they plan it, it's still emotional. And they really do need to have people like us have their back. So I think it's great that you specialize in that, because that's really an overlooked part. And we're going to get into that too. I just wanted to mention that I noticed on John's screen that you guys won an award last year for Best Places to Work. I forgot about that. So I just wanted to say, salute. I mean, that's not an easy achievement. And
Well, we appreciate that, Julie. And I think it's many, many years running that we've won that award, and it feels great, right? And I think Brenna and I can speak to what a fantastic place TrustPoint is to be every day, working for our clients and with great colleagues too.
yeah, I think I didn't realize how many years in a row you won that, but honestly, I can say with all sincerity, I'm not surprised. You really do walk the talk, and you are a super client-centric organization. So congratulations and kudos to you.
Thank you.
For sure. So let's get into that conversation about personal planning. In fact, I I signed up for a webinar on personal planning today that I'm going to have to listen to the recording of, because we're doing this. And so, I mean, it's such an important topic, right? And I feel like I can't learn enough about it. So let's talk about that, Brenna.
Yes, so financial planning in general is basically like creating a roadmap for your finances. It's a process of looking at your goals and your finances and tailoring a strategy that's specific to you. In terms of exit planning for business owners, we focus on a mix of strategy and timing and your personal goals, because it's not just a goal to sell the business. We want to turn the business into a successful transition that supports you as a business owner in your long-term life and financial needs. We definitely have ways that we can help you along the way, because we all know that things don't happen in a straight line. We're going to have twists and turns along the way. And so the purpose of having planners on your team is to be able to help you at each step of the way. We help you analyze what results from the transaction, how that will affect your finances, how it affects your taxes, your earnouts, your employment obligations, anything else that's involved in the deal. And we just basically want to help create a safety net for business owners to lean into when there's uncertainty in the future. So it's a very complex process, but we try and make it as simple as possible. We want to make an effective plan, and we want to ensure all the pieces are working together and not as silos. Because a lot of times you'll be looking at your plan and you'll be like, oh, here's my business or here's my personal. And we want to make sure that they're talking to each other to make sure we're creating an effective strategy.
Yeah, well, and to your point, that plan, like I just like to underline that word, because even with clients I've had over the years who have done pretty well in saving outside of the business nest egg, it tends to be scattered. Like they have, some things over here and some things over there, and there's really no one that's actually steering the ship. And they can't. They're busy leading their business. And so that plan, like just putting it all in order and giving them that peace of mind, that's huge.
And it definitely is one of those things where, there are pieces of the puzzle that are off sometimes. We've got crazy markets right now. We want to have a plan to fall back on, so we don't have to worry about if markets drop right as we're exiting the business, how that's going to impact things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree all around with what Brenna said. I'll just approach it a little bit from the SEPA perspective.
Yes.
When I think about financial planning heading into an exit from that perspective, I really think about two categories, right? Sort of, if you remember SEPA, the three legs of the stool. I think about first the personal planning, right? And this is really about the business owner and their family and what they want their life to look like after they exit the business. And as advisors, planners, wealth managers, in that arena, we ask questions, we act as a sounding board. We've been there before, we've been through it with other clients, but at the end of the day, ultimately, the answers and ideas in this arena really have to come from the client and their family. And Julia, I'm sure you've seen, sometimes that can be a difficult process. And sometimes that can take time to figure out. It's not always easy to see past, hey, what am I going to do when I'm not running this business? And while I think as a SEPA, I kind of think of that as a little bit of a separate exercise, it's critical for our clients' financial planning, because that personal plan and what they want life to look like after the exit really drives the financial side, right? It is the reason for planning around the financial side, so you can do the things you want to do when you're not running the business anymore. And then next, second part, just like Brennan described, really in our wheelhouse is the personal financial side. And that's really where we work with business owners to plan to use the proceeds from an exit, along with, as I think you made a great point, what might be a variety of assets scattered and sort of unplanned, I'll say, for lack of a better word, to tie them all together to meet those personal planning goals and really support using those assets as a tool, support that lifestyle they want to lead after they exit and are no longer running the business. And this is where we can really kind of get into the nitty gritty, talk about investing strategies, talk about trusts, talk about potentially other estate planning structures. And we work with a lot of folks on trusts and estate planning structures that might make sense, that what risks there are, how we might mitigate some of those risks. That's all part of that financial planning side. And the other thing I'll mention, because I know, Julie, you talk to a lot of other professionals, we often engage with other folks, right? We're talking to estate planning lawyers. We might engage with CPAs. At Trust Point, we have a lot of former lawyers like me, sort of recovering lawyers. We have a lot of former practicing CPAs, but none of us do that day to day anymore, right? So we're engaging with those professionals too, and kind of quarterbacking the team for our clients as they move through this transition and get together their personal financial plan so that they can really live the life they want to live.
And I think, to Brenda's point too, about helping them with that personal side, being able to actually have those conversations to help the owners discern, what does that even look like, right?
Yeah, that's
I have
exactly
been
right.
running, my business. I am my business. My business is me.
Yeah, you've hit the nail on the head. I mean, and that's why sometimes that can be the tougher part of the equation, right? What are your goals after exit? And then we can build the financial stuff to try to meet those goals. But that can take time. And folks that are engaged enjoy their businesses. Sometimes it's hard to see beyond it, but that is a critical part of the analysis. And for us and for Brenna as a financial planner, critical to know as we're developing that plan, developing hey, how are we going to do that? We need to know what the end goal is, kind of thing. A few other things I'll mention on timing, as Brenna alluded to. We really want to try to get this personal financial planning done in advance of an exit. The world's imperfect. That doesn't always happen. I will say that we are currently working internally to move the overall exit planning conversation further upstream with our clients. In other words, trying to get that conversation going earlier, maybe 12, 18 months as far out as we can do it. And as part of that, we want to start discussing the personal financial planning related to an exit really as soon as we can. And really the best case is, as Brenna mentioned, far enough in advance that it can help inform even the decision of whether to exit or
Right.
whether this is the right deal, right? Because,
It may not be time.
and sometimes that's assumed as part of the analysis and maybe shouldn't be. So that's a conversation we want to be having. Now, of course, like I say, it doesn't always happen that way. If we have to move quickly, we do. If we have to plan during, in, even after a transaction, we do. The only situation that we go and we do things to try to educate people that we're really trying to avoid is no planning at all, right? Sort of a, hey, we'll see how this goes kind of thing. That's the magnitude of the moment for most people makes that not a great idea, because all of the benefits of planning are magnified given the magnitude of this situation, and all of the negatives are not of not planning. And really, maybe a worst case scenario that folks should think about is, hey, I didn't plan for the personal financial side. Now I've got to go back to work after the exit for somebody else. And not a lot of people want to do that after they exit their business.
No. Well, and there are many owners too, I think, that just kind of have had it up to here, right? And they're a little burned out. And then they discover that maybe there's a gap in, their wealth, in the value of the business. So that planning ahead, of course, and understanding where they're actually at, I'm sure that's a big component of the work that you're doing, Brenna. I know that TrustPoint has got a system of 7 steps that I think would be a really important thing for us to highlight in the show, because I think that it's super thorough. And like I said before, as an advisor, like, you guys are the most important person at the table. And I have told client after client after client that over the years. It isn't me, it's not the CPA, it's not the lawyer, not that we're not important, right? But we're only there for a time. You guys are there for the entire process, their entire life, right? Before, during, and after. And like I said, we're there for a time. So for you to have that whole picture and advise that way, I think we just, yeah. And survey after survey indicates that you guys are the most trusted. So that's a good thing. Anyway, Brenna.
Yes. Well, and kind of going along with this, our whole point in planning is to optimize your exit plan. It's not to maximize it. So there's a
Yes.
lot of different things that can go into that. You may not need to have the highest value for your business to get out of it, because what you want to have in retirement is a lower value than what the best that you can sell your business for. So that's why we like to have those conversations with everybody, get to know them, get to know what their plan is for afterwards. Because if there's nothing for you to retire to, why retire right now? As we're doing those conversations, that's kind of one of the first steps in our planning, is just getting to know people, asking those questions, seeing where their goals are, seeing what they want for their family, what they want for the structure of their business afterwards, all of those types of questions. And in that process, then we handle our next step, which is identifying and selecting goals. We have a lot of conversations with people that we say, how much do you want to spend in retirement? And they have no idea. They've just walked in and said, well, I've never had to pay attention to a budget, so I don't know how much I spend.
Yeah.
So just even having those conversations, are they wanting to travel? Is their spouse wanting to travel? Are they wanting to buy any large items? Those individual pieces that you don't necessarily think of as specific goals, but kind of help you to shape your retirement, are really good conversation pieces to have with people.
Mm-hmm.
And then the next step in our process is just analyzing where they are right now. What are they doing now that's leading them to that retirement goal? And can we change any of those items to make sure that they are solidifying their retirement in the future? And then once we go through all of that information, we develop recommendations. We look at your current investing patterns. We look at what you're thinking of for an exit strategy. What's the timeline for your exit strategy? Looking at all of those different pieces. And then we present a recommendation for you. We talk it through, we walk through every step of the way. We have those conversations, because sometimes our understanding is a little different than what your understanding is. And so we want to make sure we're on the same page with everybody. And then once we've worked through everything all together, we start implementing the plan. We're there every step of the way. There's a lot of things that you as a business owner have to handle yourselves, but we're always there as a resource. And then we're always doing our last step, which is monitoring progress and updating. So we want to make sure that we're there for you, helping you if you need any external help with anybody, other attorneys or your exit planners or that type of a thing, making sure we're helping you ask the questions that need to be asked.
Yeah, and
So,
I just go ahead, Julie. I didn't mean to jump in.
no, it's okay. You jump in now and then I'll ask my question. How about that?
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
I just wanted to underscore something Brenna said there a couple times. She said conversation, right? And I think that's a critical point here. I think somewhere we really shine with our clients is having that conversation and really listening to what they want and where they want to go. And we'd love it if everybody worked with us, but if you're not working with us, make sure you're having a conversation and make sure your planner, your advisors are listening to you and not dictating to you. I think
Right.
that's a critical component of good advice is really hearing what the client has to say, taking it on board, then analyzing and providing a plan, not saying, hey, this is how it's always done and this is how we're going to do it.
Ask, don't tell.
Exactly right.
Yeah. I would just like to know briefly if you could just give us a snapshot of what that plan looks like. We talk about implementing a plan, and I think it would be helpful for our listeners, especially those who don't have one, to have an idea. Like we always think about it as being just money, but it's not. There's some risk mitigation that goes along with that. There's, some life planning and personal planning, that kind of stuff. So maybe we could just talk about that for a second.
So normally in a plan from TrustPoint, what you get is we'll give you a summary of everything that we discussed throughout the goals that you have, the resources that you have. We work with a program called Money Guide, so we're able to give you the output that shows the cash flow statements, it shows a probability of success. We really like to look at our Monte Carlo results, which are 1,000 different trials with different investment returns, so that you can kind of see how your plan plays out in a real world scenario. And that really gives people a sense of security, knowing that, hey, this percentage of the time I never run out of money. We also go through follow-up steps. So do we need some work with our estate planning? Do we need any insurance planning? Do we need tax planning? That's a big piece for a lot of this.
Of course.
A lot of business owners are looking at how do we minimize taxes both through the business and once we've exited personally. If we can save you $1,000 in taxes, we're friends a lot faster type of a thing. So that is one of our key things in our wheelhouse is to work on that.
And I'd also add that the planning is usually structured around the construct of needs, wants, and wishes.
Sure.
And that may sound at first blush a little bit simplistic or contrived, but we actually find that it's very effective at helping people to prioritize and to think about, hey, once I'm out of the business, once I've sold, what am I going to need? What am I going to want? What do I wish I could do in the future? And it's helpful when you talk about that personal side, it can really help people to sort of wrap their head around that. And it provides a little bit of a template, a little bit of a construct for that kind of planning and that kind of thinking.
I wanted to jump in and ask, there have to be some good stories that you could illustrate what we're talking about here that I think could be really helpful for our listeners.
Sure. I just had an experience not too long ago. We've got a long-term client that has been doing their personal finances with us, and they were looking at selling a business. So we're able to work through their financial planning process. They were kind of entertaining exit offers to kind of see what they were, could possibly be getting. So as we were discussing those different options and putting those into their plan, they were actually very shocked to find out that what they thought would be a realistic offer that would work well with their plan was actually too low, and they weren't able to complete all of their goals that they wanted in retirement. So their assumption that just selling the business would automatically fund their retirement wasn't really correct.
Sure.
So they definitely were we had some discussions about how they could kind of insulate all of the other external things to be able to push forward a little bit more so they could have a more successful retirement when it came to exiting, but they actually pushed off their exiting a little bit because they weren't ready to retire and have a reduced income compared to what they actually wanted to have.
Yeah, that's not uncommon either.
Yeah, and on the other side of the coin, I can think of a couple other recent examples where we were able to put together a plan in advance of a sale. And in both situations, the planning was effective at helping the owners to see what their financial life, but maybe more importantly, their personal life would look like on the other side of the exit. And in both cases, the owners became much more comfortable with the sales, in part because they knew how we would invest and structure the proceeds. And ultimately, they saw how much freedom that would allow them, how their lives could change and be different, and they could do the things they wanted to do once they were through, of course, the exit process.
Yeah. Well, and like you guys talked about before, optimize versus maximize. I think that that's a really good tag because it isn't about the top line numbers. So many owners think that it's the number that they're going to sell for this number, and it's really about the terms.
Right.
It's all about the terms, right? It's what they get to keep, not what they get to sell it for, right? And so, yeah, I'm sure that that's part of a lot of the client situations that you guys are kind of wading through and navigating with your clients. That's awesome. So much more that we could talk about here, but I wanted to make sure that we got to a point where we could talk about the things that are going on at Trust Point, and then whatever your takeaway items are for the listeners today.
Right. So one thing we wanted to point out is one thing at Trust Point is we want to make sure we're educating people. And one of the ways that we've seen there be a gap is with education for finances for women. And so we've created a program called Her Point, which focuses on educating women, creating an environment where they're able to feel comfortable asking questions. So we would love any of your listeners that are female that would want to learn a little bit more about our Her Point program. We do have in-person events with that. We've got some webinars with it. So if you just want to go to our website, there's a spot where you can sign up for Her Point notifications, and we would love to have you be a part of our community.
Yeah, I love that. I think it's great that you are championing that because I think that, there's all kinds of women out there who need help with financial planning and asset management and things like that for a variety of reasons. And I think that many times women are overlooked when it comes to being the primary investor in a family or in a situation or household. So thanks for doing that. It's awesome.
Yeah, and for what it's worth, all the feedback I've gotten from clients or other professionals we work with has been really positive about these events.
Fantastic. Anything else that we need to share with our listeners before we close?
Well, they can get in touch with us if they like. We'd love to talk to anybody who has questions or wants to talk more. We, as I hope has come through during the podcast, we enjoy this. We love talking to our clients about it. It's something we to do. So give us a call, shoot us an email, whatever works best. I'm sure all those details will be appended somehow to the podcast. But my number is 612-623-2252. Feel free to just give me a ring. We are always happy to talk. I'm based in Minneapolis.
And I'm based in Eau Claire, and you can give me a jingle at 715-461-7018. I do travel to all three of our Trust Point locations to do that planning, so we aren't locked into where we are, where we can go to where you are. So the only thing that I'd like to follow up to, just kind of as a tying everything up, is, exit planning is a lot less about the transaction itself and more about aligning your business, financial and personal pieces so that you can leave on your own terms and have financial clarity and security in the future.
Yeah, good advice, good tips. 100%. Yeah. Thank you both so much for joining us. Really appreciate having you on the show. And I just want to thank our listeners and our sponsors. And we have listeners now all over the world. And so we really would not have this show without them. So thanks to everybody, and please join us again next time.